What's up guys, my name's Brandon and today we're going to be doing a speed test between the brand new iPhone 11 Pro Max and last year's iPhone XS Max. So the iPhone 11 Pro Max did get a performance bump from last year's iPhone XS and XS Max, but of course we're going to find out in this video if that actually makes a difference in real world usage. Now if you're curious about the massive battery life improvements on the iPhone 11 Pro Max compared to the iPhone XS Max, I will have a battery test video coming out very soon, or by the time you're watching this, it very well could be out already. So check the cards right now and check the description down below to see that battery test comparison. So anyways, we are going to be running a speed test between these two today, and that's going to consist of a boot up test. We're going to do some app launching tests with some games, social media, and things like that. We're going to do a web browsing test, Wi-Fi speed test, and more. All right, so first things first, as always, let's go ahead and lay out the specs for these devices. So the iPhone XS Max here on the left-hand side has Apple's A12 Bionic chip with 4 GB of RAM, and the iPhone 11 Pro Max over here on the right has Apple's A13 Bionic chipset, also with 4 GB of RAM. So the only difference between these two is the chipset inside, and it is only a 1 generation newer chip. So we went from A12 to A13. So we're gonna see if that makes any difference at all. And based on my iPhone 11 versus iPhone XR speed test, that definitely does make a difference more on the GPU side of things. If you wanna see that speed test, by the way, that's up in the cards and down in the description below as well. But anyways, let's go ahead and turn both these guys off. All right, so both devices are completely turned off now. Now we're gonna go ahead and press the power button at the exact same time here in 3, 2, 1. Pressing and holding at the exact same time here, we should see the Apple logo momentarily, and we see the Apple logo on the XS Max before the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Now, like I mentioned in my iPhone 11 versus iPhone XR speed test, the boot up test is always the most unpredictable. And all these speed tests that I do on the channel, you can really never predict who's gonna win the boot up test. So let's see who wins here, the XS Max or the 11 Pro Max. And that was literally like a tie. I think I may have seen the wallpaper on the 11 Pro Max first, but that was extremely close. Let me know down in the comment section who you think won that first speed test and who you think is gonna win overall. So we're gonna test out Face ID now after we put in our passcode. So we're gonna go back to the lock screen and unlock. That looked about even there. Let's try it one more time. That looked about even as well. And that looked like the iPhone 11 Pro Max, but it looked like the screen may have woken up earlier there as well. So it looks like the 11 Pro Max is a little bit faster when it comes to Face ID, but not a major difference at all. And now let's just move right along into opening up applications. All right, so let's just make sure we're closed out of all applications. And we're gonna get it started with some Apple Arcade games. So these are games that are pretty intensive. So we're gonna see which one opens up first. We're gonna start with Spaceland right here in 3, 2, 1. Press at the exact same time there. And it looks about even right now. Looks like maybe the 11 Pro Max is in the lead, and yes, we get this first on the 11 Pro Max. We also got our welcome screen there first as well. Let's go into Ocean Horn 2. And we get the splash screen and the welcome screen there first on the 11 Pro Max. Not a huge difference, but you can see there it gets to the loading screen first on the 11 Pro Max for sure. So it actually is a little bit of a difference now. The more it got into the application, the more you could start seeing these speed improvements here on the 11 Pro Max. Now we're gonna go into Galaxy on Fire 3 in 3, 2, 1. Press at the exact same time here. And we do have a little web page there. I guess it was checking for updates on both. And this one looks about like a less than a 1 second difference here in terms of speed. And it looks like, yeah, the 11 Pro Max just barely. We'll go into Asphalt 9. Of course, Asphalt 9 is the infamous speed test game that I always use here. It's looking like the iPhone 11 Pro Max is in the lead here when it comes to Asphalt 9. This is always a fun game to test out in these speed tests because it does always take a little while to load up. And yes, you can see there, we got to at least some screen first here on the 11 Pro Max, the iPhone XS Max a few seconds behind. PUBG Mobile, this is another classic one that I always like to do here on the channel in all of my speed tests just because it is more intensive. So we are going to have to check for updates on both, and it's looking like we're gonna actually download an update for both as well. So same size on both. We'll see who finishes this up first and gets to the main screen first. I actually like that I have to download an update. This gives you more insight as to which device is faster. Now both devices are on the exact same iOS version, both connected to the same Wi-Fi network, and both have the exact same applications and data downloaded. I literally just did a transfer from my XS Max to the 11 Pro Max here, so everything is identical on both devices. So there is the 11 Pro Max definitely winning this speed test here. We got to this screen a few seconds before the XS Max. Now let's go ahead into CSR Racing 2 in 3, 2, 1. And the 11 Pro Max, once again, we get the welcome screen and it takes us right here, definitely a couple seconds ahead. So this is actually more of a noticeable difference than the iPhone XR versus the iPhone 11 was. We can definitely tell a speed improvement here on the 11 Pro Max. All right, so now we're gonna do something a little bit more CPU intensive. So we're gonna do a video export on a 4K video here in iMovie. All right, so we are going to select the exact same video here. It's 1 minute and 41 seconds, as you can see right there. And now we're going to export at the same time and see which one exports this 4K video fastest in 3, 2, 1. Press at the same time here, so we are preparing on both. Let's see if the iPhone 11 Pro Max, my God, that thing flew through that. So the 11 Pro Max definitely beat out the iPhone XS Max there in that video exporting test. I did not expect that. I wasn't prepared. iPhone 11 Pro Max is a beast. All right, so that was video exporting. Let's see if photo exporting and photo editing is any different and if the iPhone XS Max has a chance here. All right, so we loaded up this very high quality picture here shot on my GH5, and we're just gonna keep trying to make one of these phones slow down a little bit, but it looks like they're both handling these effects with ease. So we're just gonna put some of these ugly effects on here just so we can have some effects when we export it. We're gonna use the brush for blemishes just to try to trip the photo up and make it render a little bit more. You can see there it is rendering on both. Definitely rendered out faster there on the 11 Pro Max as expected. Let's do it one more time. You can see there it's rendering and the 11 Pro Max is done. iPhone XS Max still rendering, still going. So definitely a big difference here you can see in the 11 Pro Max and the iPhone XS Max. And now we're gonna go ahead and export this to our camera roll in 3, 2, 1. And export it first on the 11 Pro Max again. So definitely when it comes to more CPU intensive tasks, the 11 Pro Max, that A13 Bionic chip is definitely shining over the A12 Bionic from last year. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead into our social media applications, and we're gonna start off with Twitter here in 3, 2, 1. And it looks like we loaded up first on the 11 Pro Max over the iPhone XS Max. Let's move on to Instagram. Again, pressed at the same time, and again, the iPhone 11 Pro Max finished before the XS Max. So now let's go ahead to YouTube. And once again, the iPhone 11 Pro Max. I did not expect this, especially after watching my iPhone XR versus iPhone 11 video. I did not expect the iPhone 11 Pro Max to be this much faster than the XS Max from just last year. Let's go ahead into Reddit. And the iPhone XS Max actually loaded up first. So right when I said that, of course, let's go into Amazon, press at the same time there. And that was first on the 11 Pro Max by a good couple seconds there. Let's go into ESPN Fantasy. And the 11 Pro Max by, again, quite a few seconds here. The 11 Pro Max beat out the XS Max. And now I want to go back into Twitter and do a test on the share sheet. You guys know I love to test out the share sheet on these new iPhones just to see which one pulls up that share sheet faster, because that is something that I know I use every single day. So we're going to go ahead and press share tweet via in 3, 2, 1. And we did get it first there on the 11 Pro Max. So now let's move on to a Safari speed test. And we're gonna go to AmericanMuscle.com in 3, 2, 1. And it looks like, yes, the XS Max beat out the 11 Pro Max. I'm surprised by that. Let's go ahead and open up the share sheet and see which one opens up quicker. So the 11 Pro Max did win there. Now let's act like we're going to send that to somebody in a text message in 3, 2, 1. And we get the prompt there first on the 11 Pro Max, just barely. Let's go to TechCrunch in 3, 2, 1. And that was like an instant load on both. It looked like the XS Max may have actually won that one there. Very close though. Let's go to dailyiFix.com in 3, 2, 1. And it looked like the 11 Pro Max beat out the XS Max there on my website dailyiFix.com. So very even there when it comes to the speed test. And now I want to move on to the Wi-Fi speed test because Wi-Fi did get improved here with the 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max compared to last year's 10s and 10s Max. So we are connected to the exact same Wi-Fi network. We're going to run these speeds separately though, so we can make sure we get the full speed on both. So here we go on the 10s Max first. All right, so you can see our speeds there, nothing too impressive, 44.7 and 63 on the upload. Let's see if we can get any higher here on the 11 Pro Max. So right away, we do have a higher ping, which is not a good sign, but it's looking like the download may be a little bit higher here. And yes, both the download and the upload were definitely higher here on the 11 Pro Max. Again, connected to the same Wi-Fi network. Very interesting result there. And now I just want to go ahead and run an Antutu benchmark test here on both devices. So we're going to press test again in 3, 2, 1. And I will be back, of course, when this does finish up and share the scores with you. All right, so we are just now finishing up the Antutu benchmark test. You can see there, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is going to finish slightly before the 10s Max, just like pretty much everything else in this video. So you can see there at least about a 10-second difference. And you can see our final score there, significantly higher on the 11 Pro Max. We got a 454.377 compared to a 331.598. And you can see there the biggest change in score is in the GPU. So we went from a 145 to a 214. Of course, we do have a big jump in the CPU, the UX, and the memory as well, but the GPU is definitely the biggest. And that just proves that the A13 Bionic chipset definitely focused on the GPU instead of the CPU. All right, so now that we've had everything open for a while, we're gonna go ahead and test the RAM. I know we have 4 GB on both, so it shouldn't be a difference, but we're gonna see if any applications relaunch on one and not the other. So we're gonna go back into Spaceland right here, and we do have a relaunch on both with the arcade splash screen right there as expected. We're gonna go into Oceanhorn. So I assume that all of the Apple Arcade apps are going to relaunch, so we're not even gonna waste our time testing those. Let's go back into some of these social media applications and some of the other games here as well, like Galaxy on Fire. So a relaunch on both there. Asphalt 9, of course, that's always going to relaunch since it is web-based. PUBG. A relaunch on both there as well. Now let's go into Twitter, and no relaunch for either there. We still have the share sheet up right there as well. Let's go into Instagram. No relaunch for either one there. YouTube. And we had a relaunch on the 11 Pro Max, but not on the 10s Max. Very interesting there. Let's go ahead into Reddit. No relaunch. Fantasy football. We had a slight little refresh there, and it looked like the 11 Pro Max finished up before the 10s Max. So as expected, there's really not a difference in terms of the RAM management here because of course we do have 4 GB on both devices. So that's going to do it for the speed test between the iPhone 10s Max and the iPhone 11 Pro Max. I was definitely surprised at how much the 11 Pro Max just dominated the speed test. I was really not ready for that, especially after the previous speed test that I just did with the 10R and the 11. So make sure to let me know down in a comment below which device you think won the speed test. It should be pretty obvious, but I am curious to see your thoughts on this speed test just in general. And if you guys enjoyed the video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. And of course, subscribe for more speed tests. I will be doing that battery test comparison as well. So definitely subscribe so you don't miss any of those videos. But anyways, guys, thanks again for watching the video, and I'll see you soon.